Hello and welcome to another video here at the Spiritual Mind channel. Nicole, aka Brandy Nicole, here with another video. Welcome if you're new, and thank you for returning and coming back if you are not new and this is not your first video with me. So thank you, so glad you're here. Today I want to talk about the 10 things I stopped doing after becoming a practicing Christian. And this is just interesting as my channel evolves, where we focus on, spiritual health, mindset, mental health, but also part of spiritual health has been kind of me working through and sorting out like my stance and practice around spirituality paired with Christianity, which have always kind of been present in my life, but I had some questions about how to integrate, how to make myself clear, I suppose. And practicing is the only way forward in most things. So I just wanted to share what I've found as some interesting changes that have come in since becoming more aligned in Christian faith and Christian practice as a person who has a multi-religion background. Like I grew up with different perspectives and understandings, so that's all sorted out. But there's also spirituality and allowing spirituality to exist in a way that makes sense for my faith as a Christian. So I've written down 10 things. So if you see me looking this way, it's because I've written down 10 things to reference that I wanted to share today, in case it's helpful for any person on the journey trying to sort through your relationship with God, your relationship with faith, your relationship with spirituality as well. And ideally, we should all continue to keep an eye on that sort of thing. So let me just jump into the list. But if you're interested in this kind of content, please, let me know in the comments, leave a thumbs up on this video. Also, if you do any of these things as well, let me know in the comments, because I'm curious which items are maybe familiar to you, I suppose. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I stopped doing after becoming a practicing Christian would be waiting for special occasions to pray. So growing up and throughout my life, prayer seemed to be more situated with specific times and specific events. So you go to church and you pray, you go to bed at night, you pray, before you eat, you pray. So all of these things are kind of just systematic areas where prayer is expected to exist. Or at least that's how it was for me growing up. And I noticed now as a practicing Christian, I pray all the time, or whenever. So there's no it has to be before bed or that kind of thing. And I guess, no one really ever told me, so I kind of just came to this on my own. But yeah, I think it's one of those things where I can appreciate having a more fulfilling relationship with God through prayer and not having to need a reason. So I don't know, some people may have gotten to this point a lot sooner than myself, but I'm here now and I enjoy it. So for any person who this resonates with, please consider praying anytime you feel moved to do so, even when you don't. There's room for prayer there too. So that's one thing. So moving on to item number 2, the second thing I stopped doing was I stopped believing I could not find a church home. So for most of my adult life, 20s to 30s, I've never really found a church home that felt congruent, honestly. Most of the churches I've gone to either didn't feel like they had any Holy Spirit there, or their behaviors in the church didn't really match the message, or it was too cliquey and there was no real community happening, or it wasn't diverse. And so there's different things you look for when you look for a church home, and I hadn't actually found one that felt aligned for me. But this was the year that I said I was going to really roll up my sleeves and look until I found what I was looking for. And I think it must have been the second church I toured here out where I live, and it's been great. I've been going since November consistently, and I really enjoy it. I really enjoy having church community and making church friends. volunteering at church. It's just all really nice. And these are things I would have done sooner had I found the right match. So I think this is a pivotal year for me, spiritually and as far as my faith goes. So I'm just done believing that I can't find what I know I'm looking for. So that's pretty cool. So having a church home has made a big difference in just accessing like spiritual community, which is really valuable. Okay, so the third thing that I stopped doing since becoming a practicing Christian would be tarot readings. Honestly, I stopped doing tarot readings like a year or so ago because I just spiritually don't feel called to do tarot readings, really. I mean, I'll do oracle card readings, but it's usually from the deck that I created from my spiritual awakenings. So that feels more aligned and true, but I don't know. I just don't feel called to do any tarot readings. And I don't feel like I really need to do tarot readings, because something that I found from tarot readings is it can make sense here and there if you are a person who's maybe more spiritual than religious. And I'm not necessarily religious myself. I would like to say I have a strong relationship to God, but I don't necessarily ascribe to the ideals of religiousness or religiosity as much as faith. So I don't know. I feel like the oracle cards don't bother me because there is more of a direct divination element for oracle cards that I created myself. But I think that tarot cards just don't feel like the thing to me, because I don't need to know, So like, I feel like when I was working with tarot cards, it was to know things, and I don't need to know anything. I either have faith at this point or I don't. So like for me, tarot cards would make me feel like I was trying to seek out answers that I currently don't feel like I'm in a hurry to know. I don't need to know anything. I can just be in my faith and my relationship with God, and it will all work out from there. So to me, I feel like that's why I'm not called to like pick up tarot cards, because I don't need to know anything. I'm just going to let it unfold as God sees fit, and I'll do my part by showing up as my best self. So I don't know if that's helpful, but I don't judge people in their walk. Do whatever, feels aligned to you, to your connection with God and your faith and your religion and your spirituality. But for me, I just don't feel like that's where I'm at. Okay. Also, the fourth thing is, the next thing I stopped doing after becoming a practicing Christian is limiting how much I talk about God. So this is a channel where I think I've talked about God, and I mentioned God normatively. I mentioned the universe and spirit and God and Jesus and the angels and all, the whole spirit team and all of that. But I think like more in my walk with Christian faith, I'm just thinking more about, I'm trying to find the words. I suppose I'm thinking more about being in this faith, being in this walk, being in this practice of Christianity, because it's a practice. You wake up every day imperfect, and you're in a practice of trying to align with the teachings of God, of Jesus. But I feel like automatically I have to talk about God more, because that's where I am. Like I'm in it. And I always wonder with that, because whenever something is like being implemented, it's different than when it's become routine. I don't know if it'll ever be routine though. So I'll be curious to see how this, and I think that's why I'm interested to share a little bit on this channel, is because I don't know how this is all going to evolve, or am I going to get to a point of intermediate faith? Is there a mastery level faith? Like, I don't know how all this stuff works, but I am here and I'm just going with it and continuing forward. So I don't need, again, like an end goal perhaps. So these are some things that I've stopped doing. Okay, item number 5 is being concerned with people judging me for being spiritual. Because I feel my spirituality is also considered Christian faith as well. So I don't know. I'm thinking of like how we understand energy, how we feel the presence of God. Like that's always been with me. So even before, now, after, forever, I know when I feel God's spirit with me. I think we all hopefully do, or continue to decide if that's something you're seeking. But for me, I feel pretty good with calling my direct relationship with God and like feeling his presence a part of how I would describe spirituality, because it's not tied necessarily to the Bible itself or to the church itself or to anything. It's just more direct than that. So for me, I feel like I don't have any qualms about explaining my spirituality as also including God in that, my relationship with God. So that's something that's of value, but it seems different than like Christian faith, which is like the Bible, the specific behaviors and practices and communities and all of that. To me, it seems more Christian spirituality, faith, religion kind of category. So I don't know. This is where I'm at. And I can't say that I'll even have the same opinion and thoughts like a year or two from now. So I'll be curious to maybe come back and watch this video in a year or two just to see, do I still feel the same about things? Because I will continue to educate myself. I will continue to explore and find more of whatever is ahead. So I don't profess that this is my permanent opinion of all things, but this is where I am as of this moment. So just looking at the next one. Item number 6, accepting or trying to prove my faith. So I cannot do that. I cannot prove my faith to a human. I cannot prove my faith to another person. So that to me I always find very tricky when it comes to faith, because it seems like sometimes within Christianity and maybe other faiths and spiritual groups, there's this expectation to like demonstrate your faith in different ways. And I don't know if I like that. And if I can, I mean, I try not to lean into it or detour from it. I just want to be in this for the right reasons and do the things that make sense to me on my walk with Christ, because I don't know how to like manage all that other stuff, because people move, things change, expectations change when it comes from a human. So for me, I don't want to be distracted with trying to prove I have a relationship with God and all that stuff. So I've noticed sometimes, especially with Christian faith over the years, having some background growing up in the faith a little bit, is that sometimes people can get really busy and distracted trying to measure everyone else, and they don't realize they aren't qualified to actually do that. So like a lot of times when other people look at someone and say, oh, that person, they need to do something or be something, or they're this or they're that, or they're not this or they're not that, I find that to be very distracting and not necessary, because there is no person assigned to assess me other than God. That's the only person who's technically assigned to assess if I'm Christian enough or godly enough. Like, of course you want to be around people who are good influences. So like for my friends and family, like they can, ask questions and things like that. But sometimes I'll get like little comments from people I've never met before on the internet. And I guess that just comes with the territory, right? Like people, this is a platform where you can speak freely, more or less, but they'll leave a comment about, you need to do this, you need to pray, you need to, and I'm like, I don't even know you. You have no context of my life or anything. So I find that to be just bizarre. Like the folks who will leave Christian comments in the, like, what is that? What are you doing? I don't know. So I don't take any of that serious because I don't pray to the person who leaves a comment. No offense, but I'm not praying to the person who leaves a comment about what I should be doing. So I gotta focus on the one party, I gotta focus on my relationship with God. I don't have time to prove it to random person in the comments, whoever might be seeking that. Not that a lot of people do that, but there are people who do that, and it's a bizarre thing. Anywho, so something I stopped doing is trying to prove, because I don't have that kind of time. I have other things to be doing. So I don't do that, and I don't plan to do that. Okay, so item number 7. It's really hard to look at this and then look here, so I'm sorry if my eye contact is not the best, but I'm reading this list. So item number 7, waiting to make my home a beautiful space for my family. I will tell you, over the last several months, I've had my kitchen under construction. No great floors in the kitchen, barely had a working sink, and I've had to go to a neighboring home just to where I live. I live in an apartment complex, so I've had to walk to a different home here to wash my dishes, to use a dishwasher, that sort of thing. And I have a busy life and 2 children, so that's not easy. But I have decided over the last several months, I seek to have a home that reflects beauty. It is my oasis. This is my space to really be in peace. So I have found that I'm more interested in doing the dishes. I'm more interested in making the house just really feel warm and inviting and peaceful and joyful. So I'm not sure how my Christian faith is tied in, but this has come in alongside of, since going to church. I've been more in tune with my household. I've been more in tune with boundaries and helping my children find balance, and to teach my children boundaries, which is an ongoing journey since they've been born. We have a lot to teach the kiddos when we have them. So that's been something as well. Just the marvelous joy of beautifying my home has been very nice as well. So let's see. Item number 8, having shorter conversations with my children. This is good. So I notice we have longer, more frequent conversations since I've become more in tune with my faith and become more in tune with being a practicing Christian. We talk more often. We have really interesting conversations. We've had some tough days where I've had to teach my children and really put my foot down about some things, but we are doing better, and I think our relationships are growing, and our relationships were pretty good before. So this is really kind of a cool thing to see. Oh, we can do even more here. So that's been really fulfilling as well, is that my relationships are improving and I feel more connection to my loved ones. Item number 9, wearing more casual clothing, dressing down. I have found that I stopped wanting to wear casual clothing, mismatched clothing that looks frumpy, all that stuff has also changed. And I mean, I've been working on that, but I feel honestly, the clothes I was wearing prior to going to church really just stopped making sense when I started going to church every week, because I always felt like I didn't have anything to wear. And that was telling, because I never thought that my clothing was inappropriate in any way, because I tend to dress reasonably well and nice, in my opinion anyway. But I've realized when I started going to church more, I didn't want to wear my skinny jeans. It felt like it was too tight, my jeans were too tight, and I didn't want to wear any of my dresses with the slit up the back, because I felt like the slit was too high. So there was always something about my wardrobe from before, it couldn't go with me. So over the last several months, I've had to rework my whole wardrobe, which has been fun. But I've also felt more called not to pick stuff to look frumpy. I want to look nice. I want to feel nice. I want to feel outside the way I feel inside. So that's been something new as well. And I'm gonna do a separate video about like my modesty journey and like wardrobe, because it's different. It makes sense. I'm still working it out, but right now this is where we're at. Also, item number 10. I have to go get my son. I think he's calling and texting. So avoiding strangers and general communication with strangers. So since going to church, I've definitely been more social, and I think going to church has helped because there's a whole congregation of people to introduce and get to know and talk with and have interesting conversations and ask questions and all of that. But also outside of church, I find people are more talkative than before, and maybe it's because something's changing within me that's more welcoming and more open. But either way, I'm enjoying myself and I feel good. So these are the things that I'm working on and the things that I have stopped doing after becoming a practicing Christian. So I stopped avoiding strangers and a general conversation with strangers. I stopped wearing casual clothing and dressing down. I've stopped having shorter conversations with my children. They're more frequent and long. I have stopped waiting to make my home beautiful. I have stopped trying to prove my faith to Christians or judgmental Christians, the folks who are out there judging, because I don't really see judging others as a Christian skill set. So there's that. Also, I have stopped limiting how much I talk about God, because I am a practicing Christian, so there's nothing bad or wrong about that. So I'm here for it. I have stopped doing any tarot readings, and I put all my tarot stuff away to, let that be done. I stopped believing I couldn't find a church home, found one, and I'm having a great time. And I stopped waiting for special occasions to pray. So tell me in the comments below, do you identify as Christian? Do you identify as another faith? Is there anything that resonates here? Anything that you've stopped doing or started doing on your journey in spirituality, or in your journey in Christian faith and being an active practicing Christian? Because I know a lot of times people will say that they're Christian, but it's like different to say you're practicing Christianity. Like there's an active method to that versus just an assignment. So let me know in the comments below what you think. Please give this video a thumbs up. Please send it to your friends. Also, let me know what you think in the comments. Did anything stand out to you today? How's your journey going? What's going on for you? I hope you are well. I'll look forward to catching the next video. I gotta run and get my son. So take great care of yourself, and I will see you next week in our next video. Bye-bye for now.